Hi friends, it's Kristen Bradley, here to guide us through virtual Usher's Training. You're all more experienced at ushering than I am. I just get to share the public health guidelines that we've implemented to create a safe space while we're still dealing with this pandemic. Aside from 2 weeks back in fall, it's been a full year since we've spent time in our building, so let's get reacquainted. Here we go. Our pandemic usher greeter goals are to provide a warm and friendly environment and welcome, model and encourage proper mask wearing, assist with distance seating, limit touch points and avoid traffic jams, provide guidance for communion and dismissal. You've seen this before, our overall protocol for reentry: plan, cover, clean, space. It's at every doorway. If it's your Sunday to usher, please arrive 10 to 15 minutes before the start of service to put on a name tag and decide within your crew who is working what area. Ideally, we'll have 4 to 5 ushers at each service, 1 at each entry, and 2 to 3 helping to seat people. Definitely make sure to wash your hands too. Here's the main entry. If we prop the inside doors as people arrived, there'll be 1 less touch point on the door handles. For days when it's cold, they can be closed again 10 minutes into the service. All 4 entrances have a welcome table that include masks, gluten-free communion wafers, children's activity bags, and extra hand sanitizer. There's also an usher's bin by each welcome table. They include name tags for ushers, extra offering envelopes, Let's Connect cards for visitors, pencils, and an usher's checklist. Bulletins for the traditional services will also be in the bins upstairs. Ushers do not have to wear gloves. Research has shown that hand hygiene works just fine for this casual contact. For those distributing bulletins upstairs, please sanitize your hands frequently. Here's a rough description of where ushers can be stationed at the beginning of Rejoice. Let's follow our amazing congregation members, Stephen and Chris, into the service. They're arriving through the northeast door. You can see the inside doors are propped open. The welcome table is on the left with anything they might need. Masks are required. After a year, this isn't new news and it's not likely going to be a problem. If someone has their mask under their nose, just please gently remind them it must be over their nose and mouth. We're not using coat racks, so people will keep their coats with them. The chairs in the courtyard are spaced out for distancing, and that leaves plenty of room for coats. We're encouraging people to enter through the side aisles and use hand sanitizer on the way in. Those arriving from the northeast entry will be seated on the left, and those coming through the main entry will be seated on the right. Ideally, we could usher each family group in individually. That probably won't happen in reality, though, as folks all arrive at similar times. Filling our space from front to back is also ideal, but again, don't worry if people pick their own seats. Leaving a space of 4 chairs in between families does provide 6 feet of distance, and you may have to help with that. Family units should distance from each other. It's hard to enforce if people arrive together. They may already be in each other's bubbles. The best we can do is suggest distancing as our best practice. Communion is going to be distributed by 2 pastors, wafers only. The congregation will be ushered up from the side aisles and back to their seats through the middle. Those on the far sides may have to loop all the way around the courtyard to return to their seats. The offering plates will be in the front as people approach for communion, and having 1 usher in the middle aisle helping to direct back to seats will be helpful. Here are some rudimentary diagrams that might help. Please disregard if they are too confusing. This flow will become natural after a few weeks. This shows that the first row of members can go up to communion and then directly back to their seats. Once we get to the second row, usher the outside section first and then the middle section. Those on the outside row may have to loop all the way around the courtyard to get back to their seats. Again, this will be easier to see play out with actual congregation members, not just arrows. The middle sections just loop up the side and back to their seats through the middle. At the end of the service, we'll be ushering out from back to front. Pastor will announce this, at least for the first few weeks. It will be helpful to have an usher or two in the front of Centennial Hall also, since people look forward, not backward. People are asked to leave the building and not linger. We will all be so glad when it's safe to hang out together again in large groups. Keep on keeping on, because we're getting closer. Don't worry if people head out before they're directed. It's going to take a few Sundays for the congregation to get a hang of this, especially in Rejoice, where people aren't used to being ushered in and out. You'll see we're discouraging members from moving around the building. If they are here for Rejoice, they will stay on the main floor. If they are here for traditional, they stay upstairs. Now let's see what the sanctuary looks like. Here's where the ushers can be stationed, one at each entry door, one at each side aisle, and a fifth could be used in the middle aisle or for the balcony. This is the portico entry table. The only addition for ushers at traditional services is that bulletins will be handed out, and you'll find them in the usher bins. Hearing devices remain in the narthex, and large print bulletins will be located there too. Again, we're not using coat racks, so people will keep their coats with them. Let's welcome a member coming in through the circle doors. People can pick up kids' activity bags, gluten-free wafers, or hearing devices on their way in. Ushers will be handing out bulletins, and we're encouraging folks to be seated through the side aisles and use hand sanitizer when entering. In general, those arriving from the Circle Drive entry will be seated on the left, and those coming through the portico entry will be seated on the right. If we could usher each family in and seat from front to back, it would be ideal, but we are here to help make anything work. Currently, every third pew is open due to distancing, and this is how they're marked. Spacing between family units within a pew is really by eye. 6 feet is longer than we think, though, so do your best. And remember, we have a balcony. Those pews are appropriately marked off as well. Communion will be done from the side aisles in the sanctuary, and the offering plates are located on the sides as they come up. Returning to their seats through the center aisle works very smoothly. Here you can see the first rows that just go up to communion and directly back to their seats. Once we get to the next row, folks will go up from the side aisle and return to their seat through the center. If the balcony is being used, they can be directed down both sets of stairs and will also head up the side aisles and return through the center. It's the same as before. The graphic just makes it look kind of difficult. Dismissal will be from back to front. Again, pastor will announce this, at least for the first few weeks. The balcony can be dismissed at the same time as the main floor is being dismissed. If someone's staying to listen to the postlude, they are totally welcome to remain in their pew. And then once dismissed, we encourage everybody to go directly outside. Please remember, we are a grace-filled space. We are not going to get this perfect, but there has been a lot of time and intention put into making our worship spaces as safe as possible. Also remember that anything spoken in the narthex is magnified into the sanctuary, so keep conversation to a minimum. One additional thing is that we are working on what to do if more people arrive than we have seating for. While there isn't a firm plan in place for this first week, watch for updates soon. We do not have to turn anyone away. For Rejoice, a family can enjoy the service from the overlook seating area, and we can put chairs down the main hallway. For the sanctuary, we can add chairs in the narthex, only one row though due to distancing, and we could probably use a small area of the choir loft. For our first Sunday back, Pastor Dan and I will be helping with flow at all 3 services, and will make adjustments as needed. Lastly, since we haven't been in the building for a year, a few notes on emergency preparedness. We have 2 AEDs, one on each level at the Welcome Center monitors. This is the courtyard, and this is the one upstairs. The first aid kit for the main floor is in the kitchen, and upstairs it's next to the usher's closet on the wall inside the door to get up to the balcony. They both lift up off the wall if needed to be carried to a specific location. If you have a need for extra wipes, sanitizer, or masks, they are kept in the cabinet just inside the main office on the left. Thank you so much for your willingness to serve as an usher in this important hospitality role, leading us back to worship together. Peace be with you.